Elaine here, and countryhomeandheart.net is my website. And welcome to my kitchen and another video in my series of holiday cooking videos that I'm doing. Since Thanksgiving is next week, and I hope that if you have started your holiday cooking that you're enjoying it and just having a good time with it. Okay, so today I am going to be making my mother-in-law's recipe of her fruitcake. Now most people don't like fruitcake, and I was one of them until I tried this one, and I finally, after many years that she'd been making it, I finally got around to trying it. And I was shocked. It was so moist and buttery and just had a really good flavor. And I think it's because it doesn't have a lot of the stuff in it that tends to make fruitcake bitter that a lot of people don't like. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to turn you down here. Okay. So the first thing we're going to need is 2 cups of sugar. And I'm going to be listing all these ingredients down in the description below, so you'll be able to pull up these ingredients. Okay, and then we're going to add 3 cups of flour. This is all-purpose flour that has been sifted first and then measured. Okay, and we are going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, which I forgot to get out of the cabinet, but you know what that looks like anyway. So, okay, and to that, we're also going to need 1/2 pound or 2 sticks of butter, and these are softened and at room temperature. You're going to need 6 large eggs, also at room temperature. 1 pound of raisins. Now this is, and the golden raisins, this is a 15-ounce package, but I'm just going to use the whole package, and it'll be enough. I don't think you can get them in 16-pound packages anymore, but so I've been using that one for years, and it works just fine. Okay, and we are going to need a 1/2 pound of candied red cherries, a 1/2 pound of candied green cherries, 1 full pound of candied pineapple. We're going to need 1/2 pound of chopped pecans and 1/2 pound of coconut. And also we're going to need the juice from 1 orange, which usually works out to be 1/3 to 1/2 a cup. So that's what I'll be adding a little bit later on. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way here. Okay, and I'm going to pull my mixer down. Let's make that a little larger, bring you closer so you can see. There we go. Alright, and now in my mixer I'm going to add the softened butter. Okay, there it is. And I'm going to add the eggs, all 6 of them all at once. We don't have to add these one at a time. Oops, slipped out of my hand. Sorry to jar you there. Okay, and we're going to add the 2 cups of sugar and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So let me grab that vanilla. I'll get the salt too while I'm over here. I forgot to get that out as well. Okay. Alright, so we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Oops, not like that. Let me turn those right side up. There we go. Okay, there's our 1 teaspoon of vanilla. That was a little bit more, but that's okay. A little bit more vanilla never hurts. Okay, and I'm going to turn my mixer on, and I'm going to mix this until it is well combined, and after I get it mixed I'll be right back with you. Okay, I'm back and I have our egg and butter and sugar mixture thoroughly blended. So now what I'm going to do is, you notice I have taken this off of the mixer so that, because this has to be done by hand. So I'm going to add this flour just kind of a little bit at a time and start mixing it together. Now with this recipe, you need to be prepared to get your hands dirty, because when we start mixing in the candied fruit and the other ingredients, we are going to use our hands. I found that that is, after years of making this cake and trying to be neat about it and using a spatula, I found that that is the best way to mix this cake, is just to reach in and mix it. Plus I can feel and make sure everything is coated right and everything is mixed together thoroughly without mashing any of that fruit or anything. So that's kind of the way we are going to do it. Now this flour has been sifted first and then measured, and I also added my half a teaspoon of salt into this flour before I started mixing it, and I just stirred that in. Okay, so we're going to add a little more of this flour. And just kind of keep mixing this in. While I was doing this, I was going to give you a quick update about Dixie. She is doing beautifully. She is actually feeling better. And I've been able to take that cone off of her because she seems to not be rubbing at herself or trying to scratch her stitches anymore. But I'm watching her pretty close to make sure that she doesn't start doing that. And so she is doing a lot better. Her stitches are supposed to come out Friday. So I think she's going to be doing really well. She does seem to be feeling a lot better than she had been feeling. She kind of lost interest in doing things. It just wasn't as involved with the other dog as she had been. But she's starting to get that back now. And I'm glad to see that, because being an older dog like that, you worry when these things happen. But she's doing well. Okay, and also, if you have holiday recipes that you're going to be doing that are traditions in your family, go ahead and leave it down in the comments, and I'd love to be able to read what your family is doing and the holiday traditions that you have. That's always interesting to see, and I always enjoy that. I enjoy reading your comments. And I do try to comment back and respond every time I see them. So, okay, and this is just about mixed the way I want it here. Now you notice that this does not have any baking soda or baking powder in it. That's because the eggs are going to act as your leavening, and they will actually make this rise. So we won't, this is going to be a dense cake, as fruit cakes usually are, so it's not going to need the leavening agents as much, and that the eggs will do just fine for that. Alright. There's my finger. Okay. Now at this point, we're going to start using our hands. So I'm going to start with cherries. This is a 1 pound container, so I'm only going to use half of this, and I will store the other half in the refrigerator for when I make 2 more fruit cakes, because I'm going to put these 2 in the freezer and send them on their merry way to my kids, since my children love these fruit cakes. And then the other 2, I'll probably give one to my mother-in-law, and we'll enjoy the other one come Christmas time. This freezes really, really well. You just wrap it in saran wrap when it cools, and then put it in the wrap it in foil, and then put it in the freezer, and it'll keep there for a long time. Usually what I do is I just leave it frozen, and then when I get ready to make my packages to go out of state, I just I just put it in there frozen and it thaws on the way there. So, okay. And, I'm going to put the pineapple. Now it takes 1 full pound of pineapple. I'm going to put the pineapple in. And like I say, don't worry about getting your hands messy because they are going to get messy at this point. Okay, let's put that in. And I'm going to add my coconut and my nuts. And the last thing I'm going to add, let me get some of these bowls out of the way. I got a mess here. There we go. Whoops, the next to the last thing I'm going to add is my raisins. Let's go ahead and get these raisins started. Oh, look at that, bag and all. I don't think we wanted to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to start mixing these raisins in. And then this is the last thing I'm going to put in is my orange juice. Okay, and now we're just going to start mixing this together literally by hand. So like I say, you can't, don't worry about getting your hands messy because they are going to be very messy with this job. And I just make sure that I wash them very thoroughly before I start. Let's get more of that batter in from the bottom and bring that up to the top. This smells wonderful. I think it's going to be a really good little fruit cake. Okay, and just keep bringing it up from the bottom and kind of folding that over with your hand. See why I said you couldn't use a spatula with this? This is just too heavy a batter. And it would, by the time you could get it mixed with a spatula, it would probably tear your arm up. So we're going to do this just like this. Okay. And I think, based on how it feels, I don't feel any more. What I'm feeling for is little pockets of batter that don't have any fruit in them, and I'm getting to where I don't feel any more of those. So I think that we're pretty much there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let me go get a little bit off that side there. Okay, and there is our batter for the fruit cake. And you see I didn't use anything in there that would be bitter, just the candied fruits, the nuts, the coconut, lots of butter. It's very rich cake. Okay, and let's see, I'm going to rinse my hand. Right. Okay, now I'm going to get my pans. Now you can do this either in a 10-inch tube pan, or I'm going to use 2 loaf pans, and I'm just going to make 2 individual loaves of these. And they have been greased and floured, and I put parchment paper in the bottom, and I greased and floured that too, because not only do I not want this to stick, but it has to bake for a long time, and with the length of time that it's going to have to be in the oven, I didn't want the bottom to get overly brown, so I added the parchment paper. Okay, and I'm just going to start spooning this batter into my pans. Oh, you can't see, can you? Let's turn this. There you go. Now you can see. Okay, I'm just going to put it in here with my 1 cup scoop. And that way I know that I am getting the same amount of batter in each pan. You can also do this in mini loaf pans. That will work just fine. And you can also do this in a smaller couple of small tube pans, and it will work very well. So to do it like that, and that way you can have plenty of this. If you wanted to give this out as gifts, why, you could. Uh-oh, just dropped a little piece. Don't want to do that. This is too good to let it get away. Okay, I'm almost there. Right. Okay. Scoop away. And I'll finish this off with my spatula and just scrape this bowl really good. You see, I have 2 nice sized loaves here. And I'm just, if I wanted to, I didn't do it, but if you wanted to, you could take some green and red cherries and put on the top, line up on the top of this for decoration. But I didn't do it. But you certainly could, and it would be fine. Let's push that over. There we go. All right. Get this out of the way. Use my hands again. Like I say, it's messy. You can't worry about getting your hands dirty when you do this recipe. Okay. Okay, and my oven was preheated to 275 degrees, not 375, but 200. And I'm going to bake these at 275 for 2 to 2.5 hours. So I'm going to check this in a couple of hours, and when a toothpick comes out clean in the center, then they're done, and we'll go ahead and cool these on racks at that on the rack at that time. So I will be back when these come out of the oven. Okay, my fruitcakes are out of the oven, and it took a total of 2 hours in my oven to get these done. And so let me turn you down here so you can see what they look like, how they turned out. Alright, and now I just want to put a toothpick in and show you. See, the toothpick came out completely clean. There's nothing on it. These are completely done. So I'm going to be waiting for them to cool, and when they cool I'll take them out of the pans, and then I'm going to wrap them in plastic wrap and put them in foil, put a label on them, and they will go in the freezer until I'm ready to send them off to my daughters. So I hope you all are looking forward to Thanksgiving, and I hope you have a good Thanksgiving, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.